We had a real game of two halves at Murrayfield today. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. I said in the preview for this one that I was expecting that it's probably going to be the most entertaining, exciting game of the weekend. By about halftime, I was kind of reconsidering that, that statement from me. But by the end of the game, I think it was totally vindicated. What a crazy game! Definitely, as I said, game of two halves. So let's go through what actually happened. So first of all, Richie infringes at an early lineout, kind of jumping across, and Anscombe opens the scoring from the tee, 3 points to 0 to Wales. Scotland, though, hit back straight away. They moved the ball surging towards the 22, stretching Wales left and right. Then they come back left. Graham sucks in the cover and then puts Kinghorn away down the wing to finish in the corner. Russell adds the extra for 7 points to 3. Wales then lose Tom Rogers to injury. He's replaced by Joe Roberts, and his first contribution is to kick loosely to Darcy Graham, who runs the ball back to initiate another Scotland attack on the right. It's recycled, spun wide left again. Van der Merwe rides the tackle, passes wide, balls put back inside then to Tom Jordan, who finishes under the post, converted for 14 points to 3, and it's all just going Scotland's way. We then have a TMO review for the actions of Ben Thomas in the carry as he has his hands on Van der Merwe's face, kind of like this while he's carrying, right? But common sense, I think, wins out in the end because there was no foul play in it. Yes, his hands were kind of around his eyes, but he's not gouging the guy around. He's just trying to hand him off very awkwardly. So we come back for a scrum. Scotland then win a penalty at that scrum, and they look to establish themselves back into the Wales half. But twice Jack Morgan gets over the ball to win penalties for Wales. And from that second penalty, that allows Wales to go up the line, work the ball into the Scottish 22. They move it across the line before Anscombe puts a delicate little chip over the top. Blair Murray wins the race to ground for a try. Anscombe then misses a pretty straightforward conversion, and it's 14 points to 8. Scotland then, they're looking to respond. Ben White snipes into 22, pops it to Hugh Jones. Few meters out, ball recycled. Finn Russell tempts Anscombe out of the line before giving me a lovely delay pass to Graham to go over for Scotland's third. Russell converts that for 21 points to 8. Scotland then on the attack, pressure into 22. Wilgriff John offside, and then he kind of tries to kick the ball out of Ben White's hand, just completely stupid. So he goes to the bin, of course. Scotland go to the corner. Wales do well to turn it over before just stupidity, really, trying to run it out. They cross kick to Murray, who's right on the touchline. So all he can do is like kind of acrobatically try and keep the ball in play, right? Flings it back towards his own line. Gets knocked on by Thomas. Scotland pounce on the loose ball, and Tom Jordan gets the bonus point try. Just an absolute gift. Russell converts 28 points to 8. Wales then looking to hold onto the ball for a bit, but going nowhere. Scotland get over it, and then Russell puts in a big kick from the penalty to about 10 metres out. Wales defend well as they first of all they stop Kinghorn going over in the corner before then forcing a knock on from Van der Merwe, and we're 28-8 at half time. Second half then, Wilgriff John back on from the bin, his first action to knock on the ball. Scotland then come forward on the back of that momentum, work it close to the line, suck in the defence before they move it. Russell with a lovely pass, and Kinghorn has an easy run in, converted for 35 points to 8. And then Wales kind of start, to realise, maybe we should start playing a bit. So they've got a bit of possession. They're going side to side in the edge of 22 before me then tries a kick in behind. Doesn't come off, but we come back for penalty advantage. Kick that to the corner. The line out scuffed. They managed somehow to retain possession before then losing the ball forward as they move it. Scotland clear, but at least Wales are getting themselves in positions. Then showing you a bit more with ball in hand now. They move it into 22. Scotland defence, gets sucked in. Wales have numbers out on the right. They move it. Thomas, though, decides he's going to back himself, slices through the defence and over under the post. But I'll tell you now, if he had gotten either held up or tackled or whatever, he would have been in a world of trouble, because he had like 3 or 4 unmarked Welsh players out to his right. And the easy thing would have been just give the pass, and whoever is there has an easy run in. But he decides to go for himself. It worked out for him, so well done in that regard. But if it hadn't, he would have been in for it. Converted them for 35 points to 15. Then the game kind of meanders its way to the final 15 minutes or so, and then it sparks back into life. Wales work it back into 22. They manage to force their way over. And who was it that scored that one? I don't think I have the name. Let me find it here. Sorry. Normally I have all the names down, but this particular one I didn't put down for whatever reason. Come on, where are we? There we are. Okay. So who's it? Oh, it was Teddy Williams, of course. Yeah, Teddy Williams gets over. It was just kind of bludgeoning your way over to get the score, and Wales definitely with a bit of momentum now. Scotland then, though, they come back forward. The game's kind of going to and fro between the teams, pounding away at the line. Ashman, he thinks he scored, and I'm sure the usual thing, right? There's going to be some replay or still or whatever on the internet, either already now or tomorrow or in the coming days, that show him with the ball down on the line, right? Because it didn't get checked. He thinks he scored, though, but it's play on, and then a few phases later, they get held up over the line. Blair Murray then does amazingly well to slalom through the Scottish defence, offloads to Faletau, who finishes in the corner. We're thinking, that's a great try that they just scored, but Timo check. Murray jumped over a tackle, which you're not allowed to do, so no try, and can be no complaints really about that being ruled out. Scotland then come forward again on the back of a break from Tom Jordan, but after it's recycled, there's a knock-on. I think one from Scotland, but there was one from Wales already, but Wales managed to get clear anyway. Clock is in the red then for a couple of minutes. It's end-to-end, each team trying to get a final score. Wales then break, and Roberts just keeps going. You think he's tackled, and then he kind of shrugs off, or he's half tackled, and he goes again, and it happens a few times, and he gets well, into the 22, and then the ball goes loose. Then Sutherland looks absolutely like shattered. He kicks the ball off, thinking he's ended the game, and it's all over, and kind of lets out a big sigh, like of thank God that's over. But Wales have a penalty. The game's not over. They go to the corner, secure the line out, immediately move it then, and Llewellyn goes over the score. Is converted for 35 points to 29 full time. Wales get themselves 2 bonus points out of that. So well done for them for that second half performance. So let's talk about the stats before we talk about each of the teams. And let me pull them up here. Okay, so starting with possession, 55 to 45 in favour of Scotland, and they don't show up by half, but I'm pretty sure it was even more one-sided in the first half. And then territory, 65% to 35. So Wales doing so well with so little territory to come back in that second half. Attacking minutes then, 17 for Scotland and 20.5 for Wales. Tries scored, 5 to 4. Carries 174 to 102. Meters carried 1,252 for Scotland is just a massive number. 934 for Wales would be a big number, only for that Scotland one. Meters gained then 560 for Scotland, 472 for Wales. So it means, excuse me, Wales certainly more efficient in terms of meters gained, which is a big turnaround from the beginning of the tournament, because we talked about them, being so deep and really struggling even to get back up to gain line, let alone over it with a lot of carries. Line breaks then 9 for Scotland, 3 for Wales. Defenders beaten 33 for Scotland and 17 for Wales. So, Scotland, especially in that first half, creating lots of space, lots of opportunities. They, took some with aplomb, but then second half, that kind of clinical edge that they had kind of deserted them. Total pass then 219 to 182. Offloads 16 for Scotland and just 1 for Wales. And I'm wondering if they counted the one that Rodgers gave to Faletau, they probably did, right? Because that ended up in a non-try. Handling errors then, 17 to 14, and turnovers conceded 13 for Scotland and 6 for Wales. And Morgan at the breakdown was absolutely amazing for Wales in terms of getting those turnovers. Okay, kicks then, kicks and play, 24 for Scotland. Again, down around where they have been previously in this tournament. And 30 for Wales. So Wales kicking the more of the two teams and kicking longer as well. 663 metres for Scotland and 792 for Wales. We said it before, Scotland kicking a lot shorter this year than they were last year and kind of having mixed results out of it as well. I think it's kind of a more long-term thing to see how that actually affects their success overall. On to defence then, tackles made 138 to 244 and tackles missed 17 to 33. So pretty even on tackle percentages, 89 for Scotland and 88 for Wales. So decent enough from each of the teams. Discipline then, 11 penalties conceded each. So neither being, squeaky clean in the game. But it was kind of, again, like the scores, the penalties were coming in fits and starts for each of the teams. It wasn't a case of taking turns or anything like that. It was more to do with who was on top at that point of the game. Then we have offensive penalty conceded 3 to 8, and then the opposite for defensive penalties 8 to 3, and then that 1 yellow card for Wilgriff John that we spoke about. Breakdown then, Rooks won 135 to 86, Rooks lost 3 to 6, and then Rooks 0 to 3 seconds, 67% for Scotland, brilliant. 62% for Wales, and Wales, that's a good number as well. And Wales have had, pretty decent fastball most of the tournament, and that's definitely something that they can build their attack around. 4 to 6 seconds, then 20% to 26, and over 6 seconds, 13 to 16. So, actually, in this game, a lot of fastball for both of the teams, and a lot of slow ball, and not very much in terms of the middle bit. Breakdown steals then, 4 to Scotland and 1 to Wales. But Wales did win. I guess they're not counting steals as penalties because they won a couple of penalties, certainly at the breakdown. Mauls won then 6 to 3 in favour of Scotland. On to set piece then, scrums won 2 for Scotland and 5 for Wales. There was big talk about the scrum in the build-up, but we didn't see the kind of showdown, that we were expecting. It didn't have a huge amount of impact on the game. Lineouts then 13, 1 for Scotland, 15 for Wales. 4 lineouts lost to 0 for Wales, and lineout steals, none for Scotland, 2 for Wales. So Scotland, generally they have a decent lineout, but Wales really put it under pressure today and certainly won that facet of the game. And then kicks at goal, 1 successful penalty kick for Wales, none for Scotland, 5 conversions to 3, and 1 missed conversion for Wales as well. And that's the story on the kicking. So let's talk about each of the teams. Scotland, the initial, the response to that defeat against England, the initial one at least, was really good. Then very clinical in the first half, and as I said, kind of deserted them in the second half. Attack looked much sharper, but fell off badly in that second half. Lack of focus, a real issue for them, I think, and they lack that killer instinct to put teams away. I think if you want to be in that bracket, the top teams, you've got to be able to put teams away. Look at what France did to Ireland. They didn't give them any kind of sniff of getting back into the game. And that's what Scotland should have done to Wales in this. They should have been completely out of sight with no chance of any kind of comeback. But for them, it's a win, and they've got something, to build on ahead of going to Paris next week. But, they're going to want to finish on a real high. Obviously, a win over there would completely transform kind of the outlook, of this tournament for them. Because at the moment, I think it's more negative than positive, even after this win, I think. But so yeah, a win over there would completely change that, I think. But it's going to be a big task because going against like an informed team in France who are chasing the title, so it's going to be really, really hard for them. On to Wales then, very poor in the first half, and felt like the game was pretty much over by half time. Really struggled with ball in half as well in that first 40 minutes. But second half then, turned things around, played some decent rugby. They won the second half comprehensively as well. And those 2 bonus points give them at least a chance next week to avoid a wooden spoon. But more importantly, I think the second half performance builds on that positive performance that they had against Ireland as well. So, it's all kind of connected together, and Wales fans know it's a journey, that they're not at the destination yet, but at least they're on that journey now, having been stalled for so long under Gatland. The record losing stretch does stretch to 16, but it does feel like a win is not far away for this team. They'd obviously love to get that against England, but again, with a championship on the line for England, it's not going to be a game that they're taking lightly, and Wales will have to produce better than we've seen against Ireland, and better than we've seen in the second half in this one as well. To do that, but you do feel, if it's not against England, come the summer, they're going to get, at least a win against Japan, and then they're going to be more competitive come the November internationals and next year's Six Nations as well. So certainly positives for them to build on, but the first half showed as well that there's still a lot of work to be done with that team.